Listeners, we live in a world that glorifies speed, hustle, constant output. But really, do we pause to ask at what cost? Burnout isn't just exhaustion, it's what happens when our energy is scattered across too many things that don't matter. But on the flip side, focus, when nurtured with care, can create extraordinary results, even if it comes from the slow, deliberate 20% that truly moves the needle. Welcome back, listeners, on Healthy Mind, Healthy Life. I am your host, Sana, and today I am joined by someone who knows this firsthand. After over a decade immersed in the fast paced world of Google Ads, my guest mastered not only algorithms and ROI, but also the psychology of attention and growth. And now, with the rise of AI, he's helping entrepreneurs cut through the noise, focus on what truly matters, and find sustainable ways to grow without burning out. So, this conversation isn't about hacks or shortcuts or your to do or checklist. It is about clarity, energy, and embracing a new pace for success. So, listeners, meet my lovely guest, Michael Elliott. So, Michael, welcome to the show, and I'm really, really excited for this conversation.
Hi, yeah, me too. Thank you for having me. I'm extremely excited to share my thoughts and experience with the audience.
Absolutely, absolutely. Um, Michael, okay, I think it's a very kind of, I believe it's a self introspection question. But if you kind of rewind everything and you are given a time machine in there and you have to go back 5 years, and you have to sit down with yourself, what would you say? Would you judge your own version in there? Would you ask any particular questions specifically around mindset required for entrepreneurship?
There's quite a few takes on that. The first thing that I would say to myself would be to just breathe, relax, and calm down, which is something that I have learned to master over the years, but didn't master in my early entrepreneurial years. If I could go back maybe a little bit further than 5 years and say 10 years, I would tell myself that everything will be okay. Stay focused on the 20% of things that matter, not the 80% that is noise, and just laser in your focus on what you want to achieve. I think a lot of people, I'm 33 years old. So a lot of people when they're at the age of, 20, 23, 20, between 20 and 23, they might be studying. I went to university in Sheffield, like I graduated. Life hasn't even began at that age for many people. Like, they don't have a direction, at least I didn't. There are many people that fall into that category. And if I could sit down with myself at that time, honestly, the main piece of advice I would give myself would just be that everything will be okay. And
Mhm.
the second and more intricate, getting into the depths of it as my career transpired, I would explain to myself that you should not be trapped in the mindset of being risk averse. Like, taking risks is part of and parcel of life. Failure, rejection. It's normal to hit walls for people to tell you no, but it's the desire to continue moving forward after that has happened. That's what makes people a success.
That's really, really beautiful, Michael. Really beautiful. And uh, I can so much connect with that because, I mean, I shouldn't tell my exact age to all the listeners, but I kind of fall in that particular age category. And if I could go back 3, 4 years back, when, life kind of hit a brick wall, I didn't have any expectation, any hope because, uh, as everyone would know, um, we got hit by pandemic, layoffs, um, and all that stuff. And it kind of hit me really, really hard in there. But if I could go back and tell to that particular version of myself, I would have told that, just have hope. Just keep on, keep your head up and show up for yourself, and just have that clarity to know that everything will be fine, as you very perfectly summed up. And I think that is something, it's not only with respect respective of entrepreneurs, but for everyone who may have or may not have or may have seen someone else battling with any life changing events or health concerns or mental health concerns or anything life changing with them. So thank you so much for being candid about that, Michael.
It's okay because the entrepreneur's mindset, like I'm a big believer on building a business without burning out, but
Mhm.
it's not specific to entrepreneurship. I've taken hits in my life. Like when I was 18, I had a baby. I split up with my partner at the time and I went through what to me was like an extremely emotionally challenging time. Like I really struggled mentally. Like I had some major issues, and you could argue that I still have them to this day, as in PTSD, if you like. It's trust. There's a lot of things that come from that. So everyone goes on their own journey. COVID caused a lot of people to have uh, that feeling of being whacked in the face of like wow, like this come out of nowhere, and now all of a sudden I'm unemployed or I don't know what's next. But the beautiful thing about life is that when one door closes, another one opens. And that's the way that I've trained my mind to be. When something happens, something ends, whether it be a relationship, whether it be a business idea that doesn't come to fruition, whether it be a relationship with someone in a business that you no longer have, all of those things, they're meant to happen for a reason. And if you just show up for yourself every day, do
Mhm.
the work which is required, and take all of those shots, eventually one of them will go in, and
Mm.
it's impossible. It's the laws of probability. I've never seen somebody give 100% and fail, so I can fully my entrepreneurial mindset and the approach to building a business without burning out is a core thing for me now, but
Mm.
it was a core thing for me at 18 when I was going through a breakup and I felt like I'd lost my child as such. Not seeing her every day, not watching her grow up. Like I had those feelings then without even knowing it. I kind of think that, the heat, the flames, the difficult times, they're what actually shape your character. Oh, at the
Mm.
time they feel like they're the worst thing in the world, but actually I don't think I would be where am today without what happened to me at the age of 18 happening. So I try and look at everything like that with the positive angle. Like this is to strengthen me. Very similarly to you go to the gym, you lift weights, and then you can lift heavier weights. The more that life throws at you and you bat away and you work through and you become stronger, the more of that you can take and bounce off without having it influence your mindset.
That's so true. That is so true, Michael. And especially, I really appreciate that you touched upon the learning aspect in here, because sometimes popularly across social media or any other resources, we often get to hear a lot about toxic positivity. But I think even if that failure is caused or an output of a decision that you took maybe a few years back, or maybe uh, not consciously you took that decision, at least that particular time period you can learn from your mistakes, and then you can execute, um, not instead of not or instead of going into a rabbit hole and just kind of not forgiving yourself, not having that compassion towards yourself, um not having that accountability as well. Yeah, yeah, go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, like with that, it's, my mindset, I'm extremely self-motivated. So some people don't have this and this is it's okay. Like some people are strong in different areas, but I am extremely self-motivated. Like during my career, I've closed over $100 million in deals. So
Wow.
I have closed huge deals where there's a lot of pressure on the line with every conversation. I have had
Mhm.
ones aggregate of smaller projects that I've taken on. Um, but the handling of the pressure comes from focusing on only the things that you can control and maximizing your own potential. Like, all I wanna do every day is just make sure that I did everything in that day that I could physically possibly do
Mhm.
to make it a success and get the most out of it. Whenever my head touches the pillow, I wanna know that I'd left nothing in the tank. Now, too many people get caught up, in my opinion, of looking at someone's chapter 20 when they're on their chapter 2. They
Okay.
they're looking ahead and they look at what someone else has got or the speed that someone else is traveling at, but I stay very firmly in my own lane, a bit like a horse with blinkers on for racing. Like, they keep the blinkers on there because 'cause they're only focused on one thing, and that's the finish line, and that's my approach to kind of blocking that noise, I think. I think that's why it certainly helps me. I'm not saying it would help everybody, but if you just focus on what you can control, why worry about anything you can't control? Because there's nothing you can do about it anyway. You have to take whatever happens with whatever you can't control and deal with it later. Um, be firm, don't blink under pressure, and just continue to push forward in any way that you need. And sometimes, do you know what you need? You need to not work and you need to take a break. Sometimes that's what you need to do. It's not all about chasing the dream. It's sometimes a rest is what's required.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that is so underrated. That is underrated, and there are a lot of misconceptions around that. Especially because we are living in a culture which is obsessed with scaling fast. But before that, as you mentioned that you have worked in high pressure spaces, and you are very much, self motivated. Um, when you noticed burnout creeping in, what was the first small adjustment you made that made a big difference? Was it, completely a mindset shift or any particular practice that you still adhere to, kind of a non negotiable in there?
Yeah, in terms of the pressure, like, or the sort of that creeping in. I mean, I think I learned to handle it over time. It wasn't something that you can just set your mind to, and it kind of goes back to my original point about you have to take a few hits and bumps along the way. Um, Now it's a non-negotiable. Now I know for my own mental health that I have to stay focused on what I am trying to achieve, um,
Mhm.
and block it out. But there have been times where something has arose and I feel under pressure and like I can feel it mounting. But I now have the experience to be able to say, "You've been here 1,000 times before. You know this exact feeling. It's just to feel it. It will pass, and all you can do is do what you can do in that situation and deliver." So, um, I know it's a little bit cheesy, but, the saying that if you, fail to prepare, then prepare to fail. I'm always prepared for everything that's I've got coming up in my life, and then that means that if something goes wrong, I couldn't control it anyway.
Hmm, that makes sense. And I think a lot of listeners will resonate with that moment. I mean, when you're giving your 100%, but it feels like, nothing is moving. And I believe that's where burnout, it kind of hides in plain sight.
Do you know the thing is with the burnout though, and I'll tell you this.
Okay.
One thing that is true about an entrepreneurial journey is that if everything was easy, everybody would have like everything
Everyone.
that they wanted.
Yeah.
The reason, like, it's a bit of a cheesy phrase, but the one percenters, right? If you like, the successful people, the ones who make it like big time. The
Mhm.
reason that they made it wasn't that they actually had anything special. They are no different to you. But if something is hard for me to do, then it is hard for you to do. It's hard for the audience to do
Mhm.
because it is hard in nature. So I think one of the biggest things you can build is resilience to understand that like this is hard now. I'm hitting these walls. People are saying no. They're saying no. This isn't happening. I'm not getting traction down this avenue. And when the times get hard, that's where 99% of people they fall off and they quit. Whereas the other 1%, they understand it's hard. They basically like smile at the pain. They think that as difficult as it is, they have programmed themselves to say, no matter what, this is going to be a success. Now you might have to make a few tweaks along the way, but
Yeah.
simple hard work and drive alone will get you there. Like, because and the simple reason for that is that the majority of other people, they would fold at that time when it got difficult. So, again, I'm a big believer in flipping the script. Like, when things are hard, if you are in a tough moment right now, I'm not saying it doesn't weigh on you. I feel the same weight now. I've got you have pressure, sometimes you're thinking about stuff and you're like, how are you gonna handle this? This is a big problem, da, da, da. But continue to push on in spite of that. Look at it as in, well, this is just a challenge I need to overcome to level up. And if you look at it that way, you will make significant progress. And eventually you'll be able to sit and look back and think, hey, like, I can't believe like all those times and hardships and struggles that I went through. They were the reason that I am actually here in the first place. Um, because without rambling on too much about this particular topic, if you think of life like a computer game, okay? Like, you play a computer game. I pick up the controller, I play a computer game, whatever game it is, and I play it for hours and hours and hours and hours. And then I get to the end of the game finishes. And I just move around in this game. There is nothing to do. All of the missions are complete. Everything is done. I've done everything in the game. You get a feeling at that stage of sort of like, what's next? Like, what do I do? And that's why the most satisfaction actually comes from playing the game in the first place, not when you achieve your goal. I've had loads of goals that I've set that I've surpassed, and the day that I surpassed them, I felt exactly the same as the day before I surpassed them. But I didn't appreciate all of the fights and the struggles and what I had to go through when they were happening. But when I look back, I realized, you know what, that is what I actually enjoyed. Um, and that changed my life forever when I understood that.
That's a really good one, Michael. That's a really good one. And coming back to, I was just mentioning how our culture is obsessed with scaling fast. And since you mentioned about, um, you know, having that mindfulness to take rest or take a pause, what do you think is the hidden value in slow growth? I think the phrase itself, slow growth, can be sometimes negatively connotated, that it's not appreciated or it's not recognized, it's not awarded. So, what's your view on it?
Um, my personal approach to this is that I try and make the most out of everything that I've got. So I would probably fall on the category of side of fast, not fast growth, but fast decision making. Like, what are you going to do? This is the angle. This is how we're going to do it. Setting it out. However, when it comes to slow growth, there is only a few things that matter to me. Like, have I got a house for my children to live in? Are they fed? Are they warm? Do they have the things that they need in order to be well educated? Like, do you bring them up well? Do you get enough time to spend with them? And if you look at those core 5 things and you can say yes to them all, you're already happier than 99% of the world. So, fast growth, slow growth, like, the choice is a decision for you and what suits what you want. I know people in my entrepreneurial circle that say had a target to hit 10K a month, and they hit 10K a month. And when they hit that, they decided that that was it. They're going to maintain at that size. They're going to be a one man operation. They're going to travel the world. They're going to see the world, and they're going to enjoy it. And then I've got other people who demand maximum growth for their businesses, who want to achieve everything physically possible. They don't allow one thing to slip, any opportunity to be taken. And I do agree with that in many ways, but I do think that fast growth's overrated. Fast growth's the biggest way for you to burn out. I think there's somewhere put one, it's unique to you as an individual. What do you want out of life? Do you want to spend your whole life working to be at the end to hand it off to your family and not have spent any time with them and miss them growing up, etc.? There are loads of things around that that you could dive into, but you know, you have to sacrifice a lot of time to be successful. There is the element of providing, so you want to, you don't want growth to be so slow that you almost go backwards with churn rate and things or whatever, depending on your business model. But I go back to the point around you're running your own race. You're not racing against anybody else except yourself. If you want to take things slow, and you want to take things in stride, then do exactly that because there are a lot of you will face a lot more problems at the same time growing fast than you will if you grow slow. But I also don't want to discourage anybody from really going after their dream, like 100%. Like I don't because I do share that mentality. So yeah, I hope that answers the questions from both sides. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. I think slow growth is fine. In fact, huge, quick, scalable growth is fine. And a lot of it depends on your industry.
Yeah, totally, totally. And I think uh, it's a very pertinent, take on this. Um, and it's kind of refreshing to hear that, slow doesn't mean stagnant. It can mean more intentional, deliberate, more meaningful. And I think it's not black and white. There's definitely that gray area in there, that that nuance in there that we need to acknowledge and embrace as well. And of course, a very important point that you mentioned, that we're not racing against anyone else. We're racing against us, maybe the older version of ourselves, or what we find purposeful, or what we have vision for. And before we wrap up, Michael, I also would like to bring in a bit around AI. We, it's kind of that, it's inevitable to bring in there. You have seen firsthand how AI is reshaping the way we work. Um, do you think AI makes focus easier, or does it actually make burnout worse by overwhelming us with possibilities? Because I'm right now seeing some positive discussions around AI, how it is simplifying our lives, how it is increasing productivity. But at the same time, I'm also seeing, concerns raised around AI. People who are actually creating it there themselves, saying that don't use it. It's I mean, it's kind of a very, interesting take. So what would you say on this?
Yeah, it's change, right? And the majority of people don't like change. So that's the reason why people feel that way. I can from a personal perspective, AI has changed the game for me, my calendar, organization, preparation. Even before this podcast, I was given notes about the podcast, about what topics I might want to cover, like automatically that I didn't have to go and spend my time doing. Effectively, I used AI to buy my time back. So there is a big thing to be said for that from an AI perspective. The reason why there's so much confusion is because AI is in quoted brackets new, right? So there are there's a new shiny object in AI every single day that can do something new. What I advise people do is to focus on the 15%, 20% that actually matters. For example, like the large language models, the implementation to your business of speed to lead to assist growth and again reduce staff burnout. Like sales reps who are on a million calls, you can qualify your inquiries using two-way SMS systems using AI. So there are some really, really strong use cases where AI is needed and is indeed the future, regardless of whether we like it or not. It is. I teach people about AI, how to use it on my YouTube channel, but I do have to say that I agree with you on point around, people's concern, or especially in my experience, the elder demographic, like my parents, for example. My parents fall into this category where they don't understand AI. Every single day, there is something new in the news about AI, and the impact on the environment, etc. There's all these
Mm.
things that come out about AI, but if you actually just step back, forget all the gimmicky things related to AI, and focus on its use cases in business, in personal life, in wellness, you know, you can have an AI automated tool that, like I use one, an AI automated tool that tells me that if I've been at my screen for 3 hours, if have been at my screen for 3 hours, I get a notification in Slack telling me to take a break. That's AI. That's assisting with my wellness, because it's helping me understand that I'm spending too long in bulk periods of time, uh, you know, at my screen. So there are many tools that do that for you, but I think that AI has to be embraced. There's no hiding from AI. The way people search, like, I don't want this to become an AI conversation, but like, Google has Project Mariner and things in the pipeline. The way that search engines are used is going to be changing forever. Like, more and more people are using LLMs now, large language modules like ChatGPT, AI Studio, like these tools to like find actual products that they need. So instead of going to Google search like historically somebody would, they would go to ChatGPT and they would ask it, "Hey, I'm looking for a new garden shed and I need it to be this size. What do you recommend?" And then the LLM will answer. So the way that humans are interacting with the digital world that AI is included in is changing, and I would strongly advise people to embrace the change, but don't waste time on the 80% that doesn't matter.
I think this is that balance, that, which you described. It is, I mean, personally, I feel it's so important, like using AI as a partner, not as a crutch or a pressure cooker. Because I think at the end of the day, tools should serve us, not the other way around. So,
Exactly, and I'll finish the AI sort of topic off with a little bit of gold for people. For anybody who does have AI experience and who uses ChatGPT, okay? Anybody that uses LLMs, large language models, it doesn't matter which one you use, it could be Grok, it could be AI Studio. If you don't know what any of this is, any listeners, it's okay, but if you use ChatGPT, which is the main one, let's say that we stick with ChatGPT. Well, what you want to do is, and what I have done, is I have given the LLM all of my information. I've given Google AI Studio all of my information, my Upwork link with all of my successful projects on it, my LinkedIn, all of my background, explanations around who I am, the 2 7-figure companies that I own. I've gone through all of this information, fed it documents, fed it information about me. And once I've done all of that, I asked it to create me the prompt that would be able to answer as if it was me when I ask it a question. So now I have a system instruction inside of an LLM, which basically, if I ask it a question, it will use all of my knowledge from all of my different areas and information that I've provided it about myself to help me. And it's effectively a soundboard, like where I actually use it every day to challenge my own ideas and challenge my own thought process. Things like that are where AI becomes invaluable. Delphi AI clones you. Staff can have conversations with you. Third party people can have conversations with you. But I don't want to get too geeky on this podcast. Don't let AI overwhelm you mentally, because that is definitely not what it's there for. Embrace it, understand that it is coming, and just use it when it is necessary, and don't feel like everything that you do in the world is going to be taken over by AI, because it isn't. But AI is going to be a focal point, and a lot of people in their roles are going to shift from being like me, for example. If you looked at my AI integration, the shift is
Mhm.
going to move from building flows out and implementing them for businesses like I do now to becoming an architect where I look at a business end to end and tell them where they need to implement AI. Like,
Mhm.
that's the difference. There's a difference between deployment and because the technical gap for everything is getting smaller. You like coders, web developers, you used to have to go to university, study, work in these corporations, work your way up to become a senior engineer, whatever. Now you can literally just go to different tools and it can do it for you. So yeah, don't be scared of it, but also don't waste too much time on the things that don't matter.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's a brilliant, it's a definitely a golden nugget that you gave. And I think it perfectly concludes our conversation. And I just want to, wrap up. But before that, Michael, if listeners, they would like to connect with you, what would be the easiest way?
The best way for you to connect with me is almost definitely by LinkedIn if you want to talk to me personally. I will also give my Cal link to book a meeting with me directly if you had any business discussions or just wanted some advice on anything. Um, and yeah, YouTube, LinkedIn, and booking a calendar link with me is the best way to reach out. I do own multiple companies, aitrain.co.uk and adtrain.co.uk, but I'm more than happy to connect with people on LinkedIn and make it personal if needed, or jump on a call.
Super. Brilliant. Listeners, I'll make sure to mention all the links in there in the show notes. So just refer to the show notes along with this episode on your favorite podcast platform. And as we wrap up, I want to pause on something simple but powerful. Your focus is your energy, and your energy is your life. Burnout often comes when we scatter that energy into too many places at once. But when we start honoring the slow seasons, the deliberate choices, the intention, and the 20% that Michael mentioned, that truly matters, growth begins to feel like less like a race and more like a journey we can actually sustain. So, thank you to everyone for tuning in to this episode of Healthy Mind, Healthy Life. And Michael, thank you. Thank you so much for reminding us that clarity is not a luxury, it is a discipline. Thank you.
No problem.
So, listeners, until next time, may you choose what matters, release what doesn't, and carry forward with focus that fuels, not drains your soul. Thank you.